For more than 2,000 years, they were among the greatest mysteries of the ancient world. A forgotten king in quest of immortality and deification. A pantheon of gods, worshipped and feared by civilizations. Colossal statues, unlike any the world had ever seen. A mountain rivaling the most spectacular monuments ever built. A secret that could no longer be kept. Late 19th century. The sudden wealth of widespread industrialization and increasing curiosity in distant lands announced the dawn of a new era. Archaeology had become the new world sensation. Historians could enjoy the pride of unearthing lost civilizations, while their rich sponsors could prosper in the treasures. With their finds, the Germans and the British led the way in world archaeology. By 1881, Karl Hohmann had discovered the Pergamum Temple. Heinrich Schliemann had been digging at Troy for 11 years, and Howard Carter was 41 years away from discovering the tomb of Tutankhamun. That same year, the Prussian Academy of Sciences in Berlin received a mysterious letter from the German consul in Izmir, a port city located at the western coast of the Ottoman Empire, now Republic of Turkey. Karl Sester, a German railroad engineer, claimed to have discovered a number of colossal statues on a mountain summit in eastern Turkey. There was more. Sester insisted that the mountain was more than 7,700 feet above sea level, and the statues were Assyrian, the prized ancient culture of the day. The members of the Academy were puzzled. Although others before had surveyed the region, this was the first mention of Assyrian statues located on the summit of a mountain called Nemrud. The Academy quickly commissioned Otto Puchstein, one of their brightest, to meet Karl Sester in Cairo and set out on an expedition deep into uncharted Anatolia. Landing on the southern coast of modern-day Turkey, the travelers started their route through one of the most difficult paths in the world. They traveled through the rugged mountains and terrain of the country and up the legendary river Euphrates, the natural border between the ancient East and West. On April 30th, 1882, they were at Adıyaman, the destination city of the trip. After climbing up perilous cliffs and endless gorges, the explorers reached the summit on May 4th, 1882, 2 months after their departure.
What I first beheld was entirely surprising. The burial ground peak stretched upward over the highest point of the rock face, actually 40 meters higher than the terrace up to which we had climbed, as if it were a mountain sitting on top of another mountain. On a high podium-like structure were 5 immense statues of seated figures, carved out of the rock with their backs turned towards the burial peak. Otto Puchstein.
Whose portrayals were these colossal statues? The heads on the ground were more than 6 feet tall, while the torsos seemed to be higher than 30 feet. As he surveyed the site, Puchstein noticed that one of the figures had a club in his left hand. Could this be a portrayal of the Greek god Heracles? He decided to take a closer look. As Puchstein walked behind the statues, he noticed traces of a Greek inscription, which was possibly continuing down the other figures as well. In amazement, he quickly cleared the rocks. As Greek letters were revealed one after another, Pushstein was completely unprepared, for he was about to have the surprise of a lifetime.
As you see, I have set up these divine images of Zeus, Oromasdes, and of Apollo, Mithras, Helios, Hermes, and of Artagnes, Heracles, Ares, and also of my nourishing homeland, Comagene. And from one and the same quarry, throned likewise among the deities who hear our prayers, I have consecrated the features of my own form.
The inscription was addressing Pushstein personally. Who had composed this eloquent text and placed himself among the gods, which seemed to have Greek as well as Persian names? However, one question was answered. The monuments were not Assyrian. Pushstein felt that the answer laid once again in the text. But time and weather had taken their toll. The first lines containing the identity of the author were illegible. As he paced around, trying to solve the mystery, Pushstein noticed a way leading to another terrace behind the tumulus.
When Pushstein came around the tumulus to the west terrace, he was both surprised and delighted to find that the sculptural and architectural features on the west terrace duplicated those of the east terrace. We find here the same sculptures and the same inscriptions. And for Pushstein, it was the inscriptions that were the most important. This allowed him to fill in gaps in the inscription that were missing on the east terrace with those of the west terrace.
Piecing the text with the inscriptions on both terraces, Pushstein now had another clue.
All of the father gods of Persia, Macedonia, and our own country, Comagene, will continue to bless their children and their grandchildren.
The author was most likely a king of the little-known kingdom of Comagene, who claimed to be a descendant of both the Macedonians and the Persians. But which king was it? That same night, his frustration growing, Pushstein was finally able to decipher the necessary lines.
The great king Antiochus, the god, the righteous one, the manifest, the friend of the Romans and the Greeks, the son of King Mithridates Callinicus, and of Laodike, the brother-loving goddess, has recorded for all time, on consecrated pedestals with inviolable letters, the deeds of his clemency.
This inscription that Pushstein deciphered in 1882 at Mount Nemrud is one of the most important discoveries of the Hellenistic world. This epic edict, 237 lines in all, gives us the history along with the structural details of this magnificent royal monument. Many of the unknowns were brought to light thanks to this inscription.